Hello, my name is Shalisha Bano, and welcome to the AGV Network, where we actually discuss very important topics in regards to creative fields. I'm your host, and it is with great pleasure that I have to speak with Mr. Santiago, and he's going to let you know a little bit about some of the things that he does. So, how would you define success?
How would I define success? That's a really good question. I define success by a person's accomplishments and determining where they are from where they came. That's success to me. Like if you came from a small, humble place and you ended up way further from that and you're successful, to me, it doesn't have to be monetarily. It doesn't have to be money all the way. I mean, that's one way of measuring. Most people in the world measure it that way. But to me, success is determined by your accomplishments and how far you've come from where you came.
Awesome. That is a very good way of defining it. You're a well-spoken man. Awesome. And so here's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
How do you incorporate creativity in your spare time?
How do I incorporate creativity in my spare time? I am always being creative. I am always drawing. I'm doodling. I'm writing down ideas. I have stories that I've saved from the 8th grade, and I actually pulled a story out that I wrote, a 6-page story I wrote in the 8th grade, and I did it for a I created a comic book off of it, and it was published by a magazine in 1999 and in 2000.
Oh my
God. And yeah. So being creative helps. I mean, you never know when an idea you have now might be fantastic 5 years from now or 10 years from now or even sooner. But being creative for me, I have to be creative all the time because I have all these ideas locked up in my head. And I'm like, I got to get this on paper. Like right now, yeah, it might not seem great, but in a little bit of time, I might go back to it and say, hey, this is a great idea and I can use it for something. So I try to be creative as often as possible. I try to draw as much. I try to write down my ideas. I have a journal. If I have a good idea, I write it down. I date it, and that's how I keep it going.
Awesome. Now here's a very, very interesting one. Which artist are you inspired by? What do you think?
Which artist am I inspired? I'm inspired by a lot of art. I really like the classics like Michelangelo, Salvador Dali, Pablo Picasso. I studied them in high school, and I studied my teacher. Yeah, my teacher told me in high school, my art teacher, he said, study the masters, try to mimic what they do, and then when you've developed your talent, you can go off on your own and kind of do your own thing. So I studied Michelangelo, Salvador Dali, Picasso, and then also growing up, I was into comic books. So I like Todd McFarlane. I like Jim Lee. I like
Spawn.
Rob Liefeld. Yeah, Spawn.
That's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Rob Liefeld, Deadpool. He created Deadpool.
Yeah.
I like him. And also on a sub level, I have a lot of artist friends in my circle. So to name a few, I want to name Totem 2 from Burn Unit. He's an internationally known graffiti artist who paints murals all over the world. And he's been doing it for over 20 years. And we've known each other since we were teenagers. He's an artist that I really admire. I also admire Letters from Let's Go Paint Atlanta.
Okay.
He does murals in Atlanta. He's a fantastic artist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So those are to name a few right off the top. Those are artists that I really admire.
Sounds sweet. I hope our audience will have an opportunity to look up some of those artists and also become inspired. I'm personally a fan of like the classics, the classical painters and things like that, because there's something you can always learn from them. And so here's another one.
Okay.
How do you keep up with industry trends? Like, what is the best way to keep up with industry trends, in your opinion?
Well, I think there's 2 ways to go about it. There's the direct way where you can stay in tune with what's going on in the industry by looking on Instagram, set up an Instagram account. And for me, I have an Instagram account, but it's only set for artists. Like I don't have anybody else on my feed except other artists from around the world. That way I stay in tune with what the new college students are doing. They're coming out into the industry and the new college students are putting out their artwork. So for me, I'm like, hey, this is what you're doing. Cool. This is what I can do. So I stay with the industry that way. And another way is word of mouth. If you have a lot of friends, I have a lot of friends in the circle. I have an artist circle. They tell me the new stuff, I tell them the new stuff, and vice versa, and it just keeps going that way. You know, communication with your peers in your circle is really important.
Very, very cool. Awesome. Now, here's a really, really deep one.
Okay.
How do you deal with criticism?
I don't mind criticism. I have a thick skin. I don't mind criticism at all. You could go all day and try to dog out my work, but it's not going to work. My work is on point. So, but when I did have to face critiques, I was in high school, and we would have our assignment. It would probably take a course of like 2 or 3 days to complete it, and then we'd sit down in art class and have a critique. And all the students, with everybody else, I noticed they would be silly with, like, oh, you drew his feet too big, oh, his nose is too big, whatever. But with me, because I was serious about art, they would always be like impressed, and the kids in the class who would be clowns would be giving me compliments, and I'd be like, wow, this is really cool. But I don't really mind criticism. They can go for it. I invite it, really.
Awesome. It only helps you to better yourself, master your craft, and just continue along that journey. Wow, yes. Such a great man. Last question for this interview.
All right.
Tell viewers something unique about yourself and how they can find you online.
Okay. Something unique about myself. I'll tell you something unique about myself.
Okay.
I can tell you honestly that I have literally read the Bible, the Holy Bible, from beginning to end 5 times.
Oh my God.
I've read it from beginning to end 5 times. So that's unique about me, because I've been looking for other people who've read it. And I've ran into a couple people who've read it like once, and I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, well, how did you, I was like, how did you do it? And they're like, oh, I was in Bible study. And I'm like, hey, well, I mean, I went on my own and was like, I got to figure out what the book is all about. So I that's something unique about me. I've read the Bible from beginning to end 5 times. How to contact me. If you want to find me, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Santiago Art. And you can check me out on Facebook and Instagram that way. And right now, that's the way to get in contact with me. And I have my email on there, and I mean, just send me a message if you want to get in contact with me. It's not hard to find. And and you can Google my name. You can Google Richard Santiago II. It's right there on the bottom of the screen, and you'll get a host of things that I've done.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gents. Another very creative artist who is pushing his work out there. I definitely encourage for you to go out there and check him out. Thank you so much for tuning into this section. And it was such a pleasure to learn more about you and your work.